Well, my goodness. Um, I'm trying to envision how this should go. I guess it's what do I want to show? Uh, well, okay, here, here. I grabbed some animated gifs off of just Google search there and got some animated gifs here. Now you can see what is that 487 by 259, 500 by 260. These are all different. Also, I don't know if they're GIFs because I can't, or not because I can't see the extension. So what am I going to do about that? Okay, Windows 10, you got this thing, you go View, Options, right? And then all of a sudden, this is the same window that we've had since Windows 3.1, right? It's just hidden down in there where you can't find it. And we want to show hidden files, folders, and drivers, and we want to not hide extensions for known file types. All right. It's just like an aesthetic thing. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of GIFs here, and there's probably there are a few WebP files. So I'm going to sort by type. So I right click there, and I get a modal dialog, a drop down menu, and there's an option to choose sort by, and then I choose type. All right, and then I'm going to go down here to the bottom and see of oddball stuff or WebP stuff. I'm just gonna, for the time being, I'm gonna put that in a folder that reminds me that it's WebP. My Photoshop, I don't buy Photoshop over and over again, so my Photoshop is old, and it has to have a plug. It's running now, but it has to have a plug-in, a free plug-in, for it to be able to recognize a WebP file. Right, so since it's up and running now, I didn't want to stop it, and restart it again. Okay, so we go up here and we go into our Essentials workspace, right? And you can see I've got actions already open, and I like to just so you can see exactly what happens. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's get that WebP folder, right? And now we're going to go back up. So we've got a folder here. It's nothing but GIFs, right? And I just don't even want to look at this because there's only one of them, so it's not worth the trouble. So my aspect ratio, if we remember, well, you go back, you look in oops, in the gamma folder, and it's 400 by 225. So if I look in here, to get the aspect ratio that I want, right, 400 by 225. You see that? Okay. All right. So going back, and we're going to go back and into the Aardman folder. Now today, as I'm doing a reinstall, I was just going down the line, and the Aardman Studios GIFs, I'd really like to have there's a lot of scenes. It's almost like a movie like Mars Attacks or something like. There's so many scenes that you'd love to have a little clip of, right? So I've got about 95 of them here. So I want to just get them all to be a certain size. So what I'm going to do, I got a file open. I'm going to set new action 2. So I'm recording now, and I'm going to go to image size and change to 400 and okay, and 225. Nope. 225. Okay, so I'm recording now, and I hit OK. And it recorded the image size, and then I'm going to file save right on top of this one. Save to your computer. and it's going to choose PSD, but I want to save it as a GIF and overwrite the original one. All right. Now, the next thing I want to do is close it, and then I want to stop the recording. I don't want to save it, but it puts me back at this stupid screen that always freezes. So what do? I go back to Workspace, Essentials, Defaults. Okay, and here I am. So I've got image size, save, and close. All right, that's all it does. So I'm going to select that now, and I'm going to go to Automate, Batch, and then let's go find the Aardman folder. Select the folder and run it, and hope that everything's okay. All right. So. Good. I was just making sure that. Yeah, I was like, did I record that right? Yeah, because I'm kind of changing my layout on the fly here. You can see that I made another scene, like a Three Stooges scene, and there's definitely a lot more Three Stooges gifs that I'd like to give, but that's something that I haven't really put enough time into. But I try to, as a day comes around and I'm casting about for something to get done, I'll try to get some good, like the thing when he's trying to eat the clam chowder, and the clam, yeah, he wants to put a little cracker in it, a little crouton thing, and the chowder, and the clam keeps eating it, snapping it up. He tries to fish for it with makes a little hook on a string, and it's like zzz, like the bowl is like deep or something, ocean or something. Yeah, there's a lot of gifts like that I'd love to have. But while this is running, what I could do is like, okay, here's kind of a layout that I have, and I wanna duplicate it. It's got a bunch of stuff done on it, right? So instead of calling it this, we'll call it let's call it Wallace and Gromit. There it goes. Blind and Hipster and Gromit. Wallace and Gromit. Okay, so and here we are in it, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this. All right, and you notice this thing is working in the background here, so I'm going to go see how far along we are. Where did it go? Okay, there it is. So let's see if we can go ahead and view details, right? And then we can see how much more you have to go. Copy. Well, since it's taken so long, what I'm going to do, I got quite a few in there. Let's go ahead and add a slideshow and point to that directly. So, I'll make this W and G, and then make it O1. Because ultimately, what I'll probably do is break these up into different folders. But for the time being, I'm just going to make this and put the one directory, add a directory in there. Let's say Aardman. It's just going to be Aardman. And let's see what we got. some of these may need to go. Not sure. Let's see. Transform, edit transform. Let's say 225. Should it be 112 or 113? Maybe 112. So if I went, I could go. Let me just try an experimental 200 for half on that side, and I wish I could just lock the thing here so I didn't have to calculate 112. 112 is 224. That's close enough, right? So, no, that's way too small. Let's see. Reset transform. There we go. And really, the reason that's so big is because all these copies are in there. So let me do this. Let me go into transform and edit transform and just go ahead and type in 400 and 225. Now, that's okay. Well, okay. Look, what? Oh no, it's still going. Got hung up there. Now, what I need to do is this. I keep duplicating these things, but I need to put my Stream Elements chat box. So I'm gonna open this up and go to Stream Elements. Dashboard. Come on, be logged down. Log in with Twitch. Oh no. I wanted it to save this, so I didn't have to go through all this rigmarole again. It's a pain because it's got the code and the two-factor authentication. Okay. So, maybe if I had been logged in, well, you know, I don't know why Opera didn't hold my login. Password had changed. Okay, so what I'm doing now is going over and getting the horrible Twitch password. Okay, now then I have to get back over into my another account to get the Twitch code. Alright, so bringing this back up to the forefront, if I open this up, I'm going to see overlays. I'm on streamelements.com, and this is all kinds of junk that I have set up in here, cluttering up the place. And then I have my custom chat box that I made, and say copy URL. That's all I need to do, right? And I'm going to go back now to OBS, and let's make it full screen. Alright, and what I'm going to add is I'm going to add a browser source, and I'm going to call it Chatbox. And then it will be in here again. And oh, and I have to. Where's the dang? Which means I give the thing about. Oh, right here. Let's put the very first thing. Is my Alright, so now I should have a chat box that works. So I put it. Here, and I'm gonna do a little test. Send a big chat. Okay, I just sent a big chat across the chat box, but I don't see anything happening. Let's see. Refresh browser. Refresh cache of current page. This should have everything all set up. There it goes. Okay, so I can see where it's gonna lay out. Get it just in position. Alright. Now I went to Yasunari, Kowata Yasunari. I went to his webpage because I was thinking, can I send Japanese across? Because I could also look at this webpage and in Japanese. Korean and Chinese over the top. Asia. Alright. This is Japanese. Alright, so let's just grab the first paragraph here. And let's see if we can send some Japanese over the chat. Tonari no kyaku wa. Yeah, okay, that came very, very nicely. While we're here, let's go ahead and look at Zhongwen. Okay. One of the things with things like Wikipedia, you know, dictionaries that are sort of encyclopedic dictionaries or something like that, is that what you have written in the Chinese, you know, maybe radically different from what the article says. It's not necessarily a translation of the, you know. Don't assume that they're interested in what the Japanese wrote about him. It might very well not be. Wow, look at that. Good Chinese. Thank you, OBS. That's alright, so I'm sort of getting things back together. So now when I duplicate from this, it's gonna be better. Now one of the things I was concerned about is adding these media sources, which are animated animated overlays. So I'm gonna go OL. I don't know what should. I'll decide later. Right now I'm gonna call it 002, and I think I know where I want to get it from. I want it to loop, and I wanted this to be in the AV folder. So let's go. Okay, overlays, neon. Alright. So we'll try this. Yes, we have a glowing whatchamajiggy. Well, no, it's not. Okay. Alright, this is the first time I've done this, so let's see what it looks like with a projector. I'm going to do a windowed projector and put it over on the other display, and so I kind of it's almost perfect. It's like I would like it to just perfectly cover this okay, bottom thing here. All right. see. Now, to get the layout kind of similar, well, I sort of am going for like a console sort of look, but I'm not going to sit here and try to do this in my head. I'm guessing that if you see what I'm doing here, oh, wait a second. There you go. So I'm guessing, okay, 225 times 600 by 338. So this guy right here, I want to go to his transform, edit transform, and do 600. By 338, and it looks like, yeah, that's going to be too big. Let's see. 400 times 1.2, 480. That looks absolutely perfect. Okay, so 225. Give me 270. Alright, so put that right there. Let's see. This thing won't fit. $480 by 270 is what I've got here. So, getting, I'm like casting about now for a border, and what I'm gonna do is add a media source, add existing, going for overlay number 2. And I'm just gonna like if I turn on, let's see, that's what it's gonna look like in the final thing here. All right, so I've got this projector over on the other screen. Now let's take a look. See, Photoshop is done with this folder here. So what I'm going to do is I need to go into that directory and get rid of really, like I went and I sorted this folder by, and these are all the old files, and I cut them. But really, I should just go ahead and delete them. You know, I just got too much stuff. It's better, you know, to cull as much as I can. All right, now on my, you know, these names and stuff are not helping me when I'm trying to deal with these guys. So I'm gonna go and go into my downloads folder into the portable folder, and inside the portable folder I can find the bulk rename utility, and I'm gonna run it this time. There it goes, and I'm gonna pin it to the taskbar because I use it a lot. For just such times as this. So this is Wallace and G. That's Wallace and Gromit. Numbering. I'm going to do a suffix and put well, let's go over and get to where the stuff is. It's going to be in my Stream Assets GIFs folder, and the subport of that is Aardman. And so we'll select all these copies that are in here, and we'll just change them, change their names. Let's see, pad. Put a space on the end there. And now that I've got this nice numbering, right? When I want to organize these into files, it's easy for me to not have to count them 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So I've got almost 10 files there. Now that should, when I changed all the names, that should have blacked out my display here. See? Yeah, it did. It's like as if all those files are gone. So I go to Properties, right? And all I got to do is turn on randomize and turn it back off. And now let's see if we can get this reset transform. Okay. Now, all these guys. Well, you know, you see, there's like a one. This is a thing. You see, you got these ones with the little boundaries on it or whatever. That's like a second pass that you have to make to clean up stuff like that. All right, so I need to add now if I want to get my little neon thing going. I'm going to need to add a media source again, and I'm going to add existing and get OL number 2 there, and see if we can get it down to the size it needs to be. Alright, now I'm gonna just look very carefully at my layout over there to make sure it's coming through right. There. Got my little neon squared away. Now, right now, what I would like to do is to, I was working on some, you know, like I wanted some kind of instrument panel, you know, sort of a Macarena sort of feel thing on this layout. So I was using some AI, a big AI artist, to generate, you know, some heavy metal kind of sci-fi stuff. But what I do is, and please pay attention, I use upscale. Let's see, and it's spelled with a Y. It's a free thing. Like, don't buy that Uh, and depending on your graphics card, this may be a little bit buggy, but it's a free thing. If you buy that frickin' Topaz or whatever, it's like garbage compared to this. I mean, if you didn't have this, the Topaz stuff would be worth considering. But yeah, they need to change their ways, man. This is so. Let's say download for Windows on exe installer for upscale, and let's get this over into the downloads folder. Alright. Just have to wait until it finally decides to finish up. I don't really understand why it takes so long. Oh, look at this stuff back here. If you remember, I had a big aquarium back there, and I moved that into the living room. Ha ha ha. Yeah. My wife really fought. She wanted me to. We were, it's like, dear, I told her I'm like quitting the television production. I don't want to do that anymore. My mom wanted us to learn how to grow things and how to recycle water and stuff. So I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing that. It's a big, serious change for me, right, honey? And she's like, yeah, we'll do it. And then when she got here, she's like, screw that. I don't want stinking fish, And so when I was really working hard on it, I was like, well, I guess I'll have to put in my work area, I have to put all these aquariums. Well, the alternative is like to do what? Watch short YouTube videos or something for a couple of years. So finally I'm like, no, we should, I had a dream of like, since I didn't want to live where we're living, I had a dream of leveraging it to do a good humanitarian business, and fish husbandry is like it's something that my mom would have wanted us to do, and I don't know how to do it. And I've done mostly computer stuff my whole life. Okay, well anyway, this is downloaded, so let's go here, and first thing I'm going to do is drag it over into my software folder. Really like to keep things tidy. Windows protected your PC. Unknown publisher. Run anyway. That's a false positive. Take note of where it's going in case you need that later. So it's going to 64-bit program files. Now while that's loading in, I'm going to see if I can remember where in the world my portfolio work is. And I'm sort of concerned that maybe it's in that sort folder. No, this is a Bridget Bardot and the Baby Seal thing, so it's not in there. Perhaps. Yeah, let's see. Oh, it's done. Okay, run upscale. Now, what was that? Oh, and it's my SDXL, and this is like the latest stuff I did. Maybe it's in here. Gotta quit spreading. Yeah, okay, Macarena, there we go. I was using in my prompts Mort Kunstler. I don't know if you know him, but he was a Sweat Mag artist, painter, or whatever. And I said, let's see the style of Mort Kunstler. And I was like, whoa. My AI really picked it up. There's my image. And digital art is the algorithm I want to use. And I need the bad boy to be let's see. Let's see what that's going to come out to. Yeah. So I was writing some prompts. I'll just share this with you right quick. Let's see. Oh, it's WebP not properly associated with my open with. Choose another app. Oh, stupid Microsoft crap. Let's see. Yeah, got it as a PNG. That's right. Okay, so let's try to put this out here. I'm gonna add a source, and I'm gonna make it be an image. Stream panel 001. Now what I'm going to do is copy it to my images folder. Into backgrounds, I think. These backgrounds are AV. They're audio visual, so they should. I'm creating a backgrounds folder in my images folder. And then let's say paste. Image file, browse. Let's see. And there's my file. Transform fit to screen. No. Stretch to screen. Okay. I'm feeling around trying to feel if I like it. Yeah. It'd be cool if it was like an animated GIF, with little twinkling lights on it. But that's sort of what I'm working towards here. Now, just a philosophical thing. First, I had a lot of portables. I moved the portables in. The first thing I did when I had the clean install is I put OBS on so I could start streaming. I didn't do the complete Windows updates yet for all the hardware and everything. But I did do one Windows update since I started this reformatting. Let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, so early on, what I really like to get going is VMware and OSBox, right? So I can run some virtual machines. All right, and what I wanted to take away, I mentioned before, it was like, you want to know about viruses and stuff. And one of the things I did this morning is I was like, I got this file here, and it looks like it's going to be infected as all get out. Let me go ahead and run it. See how would I cope with a real situation. A lot of people are like, are you crazy? Yeah, I'm pretty crazy, right? So, yeah, I ran it, man. It was doing all kinds of wild stuff and had all these screw your computer up processes running like crazy. I was like, my goodness, that sounds very interesting. But I need to reformat my computer as soon as possible. So I did. And that's why, I'm like, it'll be a chance. I have some of the people that come online that watch me that struggle with ADHD and dealing with solving computer problems and stuff like that. It's really hard for them too. And people, I wanted to try and develop something that was like more like regular or ADHD people, how they would be setting up their computer, where it's not, people are like making these videos. I'm going to show you in 3 minutes, and when you break it down, it's like they do in order to make it fit in 3 minutes, right? They really kind of skim over stuff where an ADHD person will, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What is this? And they'll be like, don't pay attention to that. You don't need to know. So, and that's even worse. When somebody, when an ADHD person looks and they go, what does that mean? What does that thing mean? What does that thing do? And you're like, no, don't pay attention. It's none of your business. That's where you messed up, man. As soon as you say that, person, yeah, some people, yeah. I don't want to say it's just ADHD people. It's just like, you say that, man, I got to know, man. It's like you're trying to pull a fast one on me, take advantage. You sound so ignorant or something like that. So let's get VMware. So that's what I'm gonna work on right now. I'm looking around for a software folder, and it seems like I have a virtual machine software folder, and it's got VirtualBox, and it's got well, that reminds me, I think I'm going to need to have Java installed. I wonder if VirtualBox. Let's start with VirtualBox, right? Okay. So, getting ready to run VirtualBox. Do you know what VirtualBox is? You can get operating systems, right? And images of operating systems that will, in certain formats that will run on this. And I forget everything, but I'll remember here when I do it in a second. All right, so it's probably going to say, man, you ain't got Java. Screw you, buddy. You can't install it without Java. But it might do something like, we'll go and get your Java. Or maybe it will just work. Ooh, we need to install Python too. It's going to temporarily disconnect me from the network. What's going to happen to my stream? Only the crazy people will know. Wow, it's running. It's running fast. Is it disconnecting me? I'm looking at the other machine over here and seeing if everything's going smooth. Start Oracle VirtualBox after installation. Wow, that's great. Just like that. Alright, so, and I forget what these take, but I have, yeah, VirtualBox VM. So it takes a file called a VBox file. Let me see if I have one of those. Okay, I gotta go back over here to my sort folder. And no, I don't. Let me see. Just for grins and giggles, let's see how long it would take to get. I'd like to get a Debian 10 VBox file. So let's bring this up and go. Just gonna put Debian 10 on piece. You know what I want to do? I want to go to osboxes.org. VirtualBox images. Close this. There's some kind of reason why I wanted Debian 10. The Debian project is an association of individuals who have made common cause to create a free operating system. This operating system that we have created is called Debian. An operating system is the set of basic programs and utilities that make your computer run. At the core of an operating system is the kernel. The kernel is the most fundamental program on the computer and does all the basic housekeeping and lets you start other programs. Debian systems currently use the Linux kernel. Linux is a completely free piece of software started by Linus Torvalds and supported by thousands of programmers worldwide. Of course, the thing that people want is application software, programs to help them get what they want to do done. From editing documents to running a business to playing games to writing more software. Debian comes with over 43,000 packages, pre-compiled software that is bundled up in a nice format for easy installation on your machine. A package manager, APT, and other utilities that make it possible to manage thousands of packages on thousands of computers as easy as installing a single application, and all of it for free. Isn't that great? It's a bit like a tower. At the base is the kernel. On top of that are the basic tools. Next is all the software that you run on a computer. At the top of the tower is Debian, carefully organizing and fitting everything so it all works together. So, let's grab it. Doink, here it comes. 1.1 gigs. Now, while that's downloading, I think what I can do here is I've got this operating. I've got a VMware VMDK file, and I want to move it over to where it belongs. I'm going to look for my virtual machine software. Also, I can see this is still going. It's over a gig. All right, so while that's running, I'm going to see if I can get a VMware installation going. This is more productive than I thought it would be. Got my console layout, got my overlays done. About to have, well, I can't remember how to install this, these VDIs. Well, we're going to have to work through it again. This is why we should always reformat our machine a lot, because you this kind of thing, setting up guest operating systems or whatever, it's one of those things you don't do it over and over and over and over again. You wait for a while and then you forget. How do you do that again? You gotta go figure it out. There's no escape. doesn't want me to do different stuff. Where did I put it? I just put it in my operating systems folder. Alright, so other. Alright, so that's gonna be, see where it is. Oh, this is where let's see, I forgot what okay, hold on. So let's go ahead and do the VMware. Now, where do I want this thing to be? I hate, it's like you're like, well, for a minute there, you're like, do I make a contribution as a customer by giving them permission to, bother my computer and use my computer's resources to find out stuff? No, I actually don't want to do that. I'm not rich. Okay. Now, all right, so we got VMware going on there. Now, is this gonna take a VDI file? Okay, and I know that I put it in my operating systems. So it's in software, operating systems. No, it's not. no, I think this is what I'm gonna need. Is it gonna need to be installed manually? Now, what am I forgetting? Okay, I gotta get this over here. This is my download, and it's done. So I'm gonna cut it and put it into my operating systems folder. Alright, this is a beta TomTom.
45 was entirely false. All the other charges were similarly disproved. It developed that they were based on two facts. In the preliminary investigation, the trial officers, being ignorant of Polish, were compelled to employ interpreters. One of these interpreted the statement of the Polish witness to the effect that he had seen a certain Zilberberg walk the streets arm in arm with a German officer. The fact brought out in the new trial was that the witness had actually seen the German officer seize Zilberberg by the neck. In the second place, the story had been started in sheer malice by two notorious gangsters whose evidence was unworthy of any consideration. All of the accused were therefore acquitted. 24. The significance of this episode lies in the fact that the colonel in command in this particular case happened to be a kindly man, who, being unwilling to see injustice done, went to the trouble to have the case carefully investigated. Hundreds of other cases based on equally groundless accusations came to court without the possibility of such a fair investigation. Another case of this sort is reported from Suwałki. It was charged by the Poles that the Jews of Suwałki had met the Germans with bread and salt, the national Russian custom in welcoming guests. The facts were that practically the entire population of Suwałki had fled at the approach of the Germans. The Germans, however, had, with their usual thoroughness, made out in advance a list of the leading citizens of Suwałki who were to be appointed to the deputation that was to welcome the Germans. Only one Jew was on this list. Not all the Poles were bitterly hostile to the Jews, as may be seen from the following story, reprinted from 46 the Polish paper, Nowa Gazeta, in Rasfield, February 8, 21, 1915, p. 36. An army officer, a Pole, reports this: where our detachment was stationed, I found a group of soldiers surrounding a muzhik, who was telling them that the Jews had cut the telegraph wires. The soldiers were furious and ready to take revenge on the miserable Jews. I approached the group and said to the muzhik, I am glad to see that your patriotic impulses urge you to expose these Jew traitors. You must take me to them at once. You say you know the guilty ones. Show us how we can capture them and dispose of them. The muzhik became confused at once. He stammered, I didn't say anything about them. I didn't see them myself. I didn't see anything myself. People say so. Everybody says so. I assumed a severe attitude and said to him, you know these people perfectly well, but you don't want to expose them. You are trying to shelter these traitors. You must take me to them at once. After more evasions, the muzhik broke down completely. Thereupon the soldiers turned upon him and wanted to beat him, but I took him under my protection. He confessed completely to me and I sent him off and told him to beg his priest to preach on the following Sunday on the text, love thy neighbor as thyself. Another instance was this. in a Warsaw street car filled with passengers, I saw a Polish woman physician looking out at a Jewish automobile ambulance. "Look here," she cried, "these Jews also have motor ambulances. I think they must be stolen." I took it upon myself to ask her for an explanation of this. She was decent enough to admit that she knew nothing at all about it and that she had said these words without thinking. In these two cases it happened that I came out as a Pole defending the honor of Poland, because I believe that Poland does not require such outrageous falsifications and slanders for its regeneration. If they were not so painful to relate, if I could give you a whole series of such incidents. Even the Polish clergy, usually anti-Semitic, felt compelled to protest against the excesses of their followers. Thus, in January 1915, the priests of Blitz, headed by Archbishop Kowalski, interceded on behalf of the Jews, 47, with the Russian authorities, who had made numerous arrests upon the denunciations of Polish agitators. So outrageous was the attitude of the Poles that at a conference of progressive deputies of the Duma held at Petrograd in January 1915, resolutions were passed to extend no help whatever to the Polish deputies in any of their nationalist projects in the Duma because of their attitude toward the Jews. The Polish weekly Głos Polski, published in Petrograd, contains an interview with Professor Miliukov on the Polish question. Our point of view is that along the river Vistula live not only Poles, but that there also lives another people, the Jewish people, which has a right to be recognized. When the Polish question will be taken up in the legislative chambers, we shall demand that the Fundamental Act should guarantee the rights of the Jewish minority as well. 25. At several conferences of Russian, Polish and Jewish communal workers which took place in Petrograd and Moscow in January 1915, the majority of the Russians expressed their solidarity with the Jews in this matter. 26. Even the most reactionary Russians foresaw danger to Russia in the Polish campaign of vilification against the Jews. Thus the true Russian, anti-Semitic, leader, Orlov, after a visit to Poland, declared, "I have seen nothing bad on the part of the Jews, although the Poles made up all sorts of accusations against them. But in these Polish reports you feel prejudice, vindictiveness, hatred, nothing else. The Jews are loyal and brave, and it is most inadvisable to pursue a policy which might convert 6 million subjects into enemies." 27. 48. The Kazi case. But the Russian military authorities, seeking a scapegoat for their own failures, eagerly seized upon the Polish stories and gave them official standing and wide circulation. The notorious Kazi incident illustrates the methods used. The story, as first published in the military paper Nasz Vestnik, the official organ of the Northwestern Army, on May 5, 1915, in the official daily newspaper issued by the Russian government, the Pravitelstvenny Vestnik, May 6, 1915, and elsewhere, ran as follows. On the night of April 28, in Kazi, northwest of Shavli, the Germans attacked a detachment of one of our infantry regiments resting there. This disclosed the shockingly treacherous conduct of a part of the population, especially the Jewish part, towards our troops. The Jews had concealed German soldiers in their cellars.
So now I've taken the resized GIFs and I've organized them into folders. So I need to go back to Wallace and Gromit 001 and trash that, add a new directory, and just for the heck of it, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Alright, and I'm going to rename this to see what we got there. Good. Now, I can copy transform, and I can I thought I had duplicate here. Enable preview, lock preview, preview scale, full spread projection, and copy, yeah, and then Control V, and there should be 2 of them there. Yeah. Copy this transform. Alright, now for this one, I'm going to add another image slideshow, and it's going to be W and G and J. I used the ampersand here on the other one, so I'm going to use it on this one too. Okay. Now, let's go on add our directory, and it's going to be 001. Select folder. Alright. So my Wallace and Gromit layout. Now, I need to take a look and see. So, yeah, I can see I've got a Debian VDI file. So, next, alright, so my base memory, I want to be at the top of the recommended. I guess that's, no, that's, let's put 3 processors. Because this is an i5, it's got 2 virtual, you know. Now, I had settled for 120 gigabytes, and I don't know that I need to pre-allocate full size. Use an existing hard disk file. Okay. So this is where I'm hoping it will take a VDI. Saying it would take a okay, so No, okay, but no, I put it in the, let's see, download folder, operating systems, Debian 10, Debian 10, all files. Wait a minute, where's my dang file? Not where it's supposed to be. Alright, let's see.
Before our troops arrived, and at a signal they set fire to Curzy on all sides. The Germans, leaping out of the cellars, rushed to the house which our regimental commander was occupying. At the same time, two of the battalions, supported by cavalry, attacked our outposts and captured the village. The house in which the commander had his headquarters soon fell in. Colonel Vavilov ordered that the regimental colours be burned, and, refusing to surrender to the Germans, was killed. Our reinforcements then arrived, drove the Germans out of Curzy at the point of the bayonet, and saved the remnants of the burning standard. All the local inhabitants who had taken part in this terrible affair were brought before a court-martial, and the ringleaders will be sent to Siberia. This sad incident again demonstrates the need of keeping constant guard, particularly over all those Jewish towns which have at any time been held by the enemy.
Alright, so I got my Debian copied over. Oh, it's saying it wants 500 gigs. What does that mean? This is the first time I installed it. Next. Well, that was almost instantaneous. Let's start it, see if it will run.
This story, in all its circumstantial details, was spread broadcast throughout the empire, in all the official and semi-official organs of the government, on the bulletin boards, wherever the Russian populace congregates. By military order, it was brought to the attention of every 49 man in the army, down to the last private. Country editors were ordered to reprint the story under threat of prosecution. Not a hamlet in all Russia but shuddered at the monstrous treachery of the Jews. In Tashkent, the clergy offered a prayer in the cathedral, petitioning God to deliver the Russian army from the machinations of Jewish traitors. Even the liberals, usually sympathetic toward the Jews, were silent, as no defense was possible in so black a case. Then it occurred to someone to make an investigation. 3 deputies of the Duma went to the spot in person and discovered that in the entire village of Kazi there were only 6 Jewish families, all but one living in miserable huts without cellar space, that the one cellar in a Jewish house was only 9 by 7 and too low for a man to stand upright in, that it could not possibly hide enough German soldiers to attack, much less annihilate, a Russian detachment, that the few Jews of the town had left it, with the permission of the military authorities, on April 27, the day before the town had been attacked by the Germans, and were known to have spent the night of April 27-28 at another village, Minstock, and, finally, that no Jews had been tried, convicted or executed at Kazi. In brief, the story was, from beginning to end, an absolute fabrication. This Kazi story was branded as a lie by the Jewish deputy Friedman in the Duma on July 19, August 1, 1915. He was supported by the non-Jewish deputy Kerensky, who denounced the fabrication in these words: "I declare now from this rostrum that I personally went to the town of Kazi to verify the accusation that the Jewish population of the Kazi had committed a treacherous assault on the Russian army, and I feel it my duty to reiterate that this is but an ignominious slander. There was no such case, and under local conditions there could be none." 50. But the refutation of the lie was not spread throughout Russia. It has been consistently suppressed by the military censor, and to this day the great majority of the Russian people, in the absence of a disproof, fully believe the story. The Shavli case. Another spy story widely circulated in the anti-Semitic press was that the Jews of Shavli had been expelled from Courland because they were detected in the act of leading the German troops onto Shavli. This also was printed in all the military and semi-official newspapers of Russia and from the reprinted in the general press. The newspaper Dean pointed out the absurdity of this and similar charges. 28. Accepting the story as it stands, without demanding the names of the Jews found guilty, or any other details, let us simply examine the map. Shavli is not in Courland at all. It is in the province of Kovno, and is 50 versts from the nearest point in Courland, and more than 50 versts from the nearest point inhabited by Jews. The Germans, we know, moved to Shavli, not through Courland, but from the opposite direction. The charge, if true, would therefore mean that the Jews of Courland went 100 versts out of their way in an entirely strange territory in order to commit treason by communicating with Germans. This is obvious nonsense. Nor is it less obvious that this fiction has been manufactured out of whole cloth. And this is how it was manufactured. Reports reached the newspapers that the Jews of Courland were being expelled. The anti-Semitic papers at once argued that if the Jews were being expelled they must have committed some treason, and since the line of the German advance was known to be in the general direction of Shavli, and since these people were too lazy to consult the map, they promptly decided that the expulsion must have been due to the fact that the Jews of Courland had guided the Germans to Shavli. And so this preposterous story was started on its way. 51. Other spy stories. No story was too absurd to be given credibility and systematic circulation. It was reported, and seriously believed, that at a place unnamed and a time unknown some Jew had enclosed 1.5 million rubles in a coffin and shipped the coffin to Germany. The chief rabbi and the Jewish community of Warsaw telegraphed to the Novo Vremya and several other leading papers, protesting against this monstrous slander against the Jews at a time when their sons were shedding their blood freely on the battlefields. The Novo Vremya declined to publish the telegram. 29. The Jewish community of Petrograd appealed to the Grand Duke Nicholas, then Commander-in-Chief of the Russian armies, in these words: "The entire Jewish people would cast out, with scorn and indignation, those base criminals who, forgetting duty and conscience, would, in this year of universal sacrifice, break their sacred vows of loyalty to the fatherland." Such treachery is alien to our faith and was never known to exist among Jews to any greater extent than among other peoples. And never yet, in the course of the centuries, no matter to what persecutions the Jews, under the influence of prejudice created by their devotion to their ancient faith and customs, may have been subjected, has any government denounced all of its subjects as traitors to their country. This is the first time in all history that such an attitude has been assumed by any government toward the Jews. At the very time that our sons are fighting in the ranks of the Russian 52 Army for the honor and glory of Russia, we, their fathers, are held responsible for the acts of a few criminals and are being persecuted for their vile deeds, aimed at the betrayal of our own sons. Never has any man nor any people been subjected to torment greater than this, to humiliation less bearable or more offensive to honor or self-respect. Your Imperial Highness, in this sad hour of trial we long to implant in our people faith in a brighter future. We long to preserve that tie of loyalty towards our common country which is so essential for the welfare of all the peoples inhabiting Russia, and which was demonstrated so powerfully when the insolent enemy first threw down the gauntlet to Russia. We do not wish to admit discord, despair and sorrow, but should reign only unity, harmony, hope. And we dare to appeal to your Imperial Highness in the hope that measures insulting to us will cease to be applied, that the stamp of outcast be removed from our faces, and that we may be permitted, as loyal sons of our country, freed from all suspicion, to use our whole strength in the struggle with the common enemy. No reply was received to this appeal. On the contrary, the policy of fastening upon the Jews all the blame for Russian defeats was carried out consistently by the military machine. The Ruski Invalid, the official journal of the War Department, in the spring of 1915, definitely accused the Jews of disloyalty to the state and of sympathy for Germany, and openly attributed Russian disaster to this cause. 30. 53. Military orders like the following were common. Order number 89. Issued to the soldiers of the fortified region, Fortress Novosibirsk, November 27, 1914. The German newspapers print articles declaring that among the Russian Jews the Germans find reliable allies who, besides supplying them with food, are often the best and unpaid spies, ready to enter any service injurious to the cause of Russia, and that in German victory the Jews see their salvation from imperial oppression and Polish persecution. Similar information continues to come in from the army. In order to protect the army from the harmful activities of the Jewish population, the Commander-in-Chief has ordered that the forces of occupation take hostages from among the Jewish population, warning the inhabitants that in case of treacherous activities on the part of any one of the local inhabitants, not only during the period of our occupation of a given inhabited point, but also after our leaving it, the hostages will be executed, which order is to be carried out in case of necessity. Upon occupation of inhabited points, careful searches are to be made to find out whether there are any arrangements for wireless telegraphy, signaling, pigeon stations, underground telegraphs, and so forth, and the full penalty of the law is to be meted out to anyone connected with this. Reference: telegram by General Oranovsky of this year under number 3432, signed Chief of the Fortified Region. General of the Cavalry, Bobir. 54. This order was issued from the press at 6 o'clock in the evening, December 2nd, 1914, and immediately proved profitable to the dregs of the Russian soldiery, as was demonstrated at a court-martial held in Lomza, where it was proven that 3 members of a signal corps had planted a telephone in the motion picture theater of a Jew named Arsen Bigel, and had then arrested him and demanded 5,000 rubles blackmail. In the course of the trial, it developed that one of the men was responsible for the hanging of no less than 17 innocent Jews as spies solely because they were unable or unwilling to pay the blackmail demanded by him. 31. Even the loyalty of Jewish soldiers was officially questioned. Order number 1193 of the General Staff, dated April the 27th to May the 10th, 1915, commands all the troops to watch the Jewish soldiers, especially their readiness to surrender as prisoners, and in general, their entire conduct.
Ouch.
But the publication and circulation of orders like these reacted disastrously upon the Russian arms. By branding the entire Jewish population as traitorous, the military authorities encouraged the Poles to fabricate new slanders, the spread of which only served to heighten the distrust of the populations and to make the fighting area of Poland a quagmire for the Russian armies. The troops did not know whom to trust or distrust. Instead of the fighting on friendly ground, welcomed and supported by the moral and economic resources of the civilian population, the Russians fought on ground undermined by hatred, dissension and distrust. When they began to realize this state of affairs, some of the Russian commanders made desperate efforts to check the spy mania. 55. General P. Kurlev issued the following order in the Baltic provinces on February 25, 1915. Order number 27. Of late, more and more anonymous denunciations and reports concerning crimes and actions closely connected with the peculiar conditions of war times are coming in the provinces given over to my supervision. Such reports not only lack confirmation in most cases, but investigations prove that they are caused in the majority of cases not by a patriotic desire to help the military authorities, but by personal reasons of revenge, not only not admissible in wartime, but also particularly criminal, by distracting the attention of officials from their necessary duties. These reports promote disorder and excitement among the local population. I have asked the various governors to order the police officials under their supervision not to institute any investigations on the basis of anonymous denunciations except in extraordinary cases. Article 300 of the Criminal Code, but to forward these denunciations to me and wait for orders. In the case of signed denunciations and reports, the police officials must first of all question the denunciator, warning him of the consequence of a false denunciation, and if any signs of crime should be established in the courses of the examination, he should be dealt with according to Articles 250 to 261 of the Criminal Code, or the governors should impose penalties in their administrative capacity. I order the police officials 56 to strictly follow Article 254 of the Code when making an investigation. Witnesses found to bear false reports shall be subjected to criminal prosecution according to Article 940 of the Code. In view of the particularly criminal character of false denunciations in wartime, I shall apply the most rigorous measures to those found guilty of this offence. I have asked the governors to make this order public to all. 32. Suppression of Yiddish press and speech. It appears also that the similarity of the Yiddish and German languages further laid the Jews open to distrust. The use of Yiddish in conversation, in correspondence, over the telephone, in the theatre, etc., was prohibited by legal, military and civil authorities under penalty of heavy fine and imprisonment. In Lodz, Vilna, Riga, Warsaw and other Jewish centres, the performance of plays in Yiddish was prohibited and theatres closed. Letters from foreign countries to Russia, in any language except Yiddish, were generally passed by the censor after scrutiny, but letters in Yiddish were as a rule not delivered at all. In July 1915, the commander of the Russian forces issued the following absolute order. On the basis of the power entrusted to me according to paragraph 6 Article 415, Section 6. I prohibit postal and telegraph communications within the district occupied by the army entrusted to me in the Jewish, German, and Hungarian languages. 33. 57. By this order, the Russian government not only branded the entire Jewish people as spies and traitors, but also prevented hundreds of thousands of Jewish soldiers at the front from communicating with relatives and friends, because many of the soldiers had been prevented by educational restrictions from learning to read and write Russian. To the Jewish soldier unable to read or write was thus denied even that scant comfort which his Russian comrades might derive from the stereotyped communications checked on the regulation postal card and mailed by field post. At the beginning of the war, the military censors assumed command of the entire press of Russia. That they used their power with the utmost unfairness against the Jewish press was charged without contradiction in the Duma by Professor Miliukov, deputies Bomash, Sechenov and others, who pointed out that if the aim of the censor was to suppress every truth and encourage every lie against the Jews, they could not possibly have pursued a more consistent policy. Deputy Bomash furnished the following concrete instances of perversion of facts by the censorship. 1. It systematically expunged or mutilated the names of Jews to whom the Cross of St. George had been awarded. 34. 58. 2. When the mayor of Petrograd congratulated the Jewish community upon the heroic conduct of a lad of 13, named Kaufman, the censors suppressed the fact that Kaufman was a Jew, and that the community referred to as the Jewish community. 3. Stories in the Russian press of the valor of Jews in the French armies are either suppressed or the Jewish names cut out. 4. A news item referring to the fact that General Semenov, whom Jewish soldiers had saved from capture by the Germans, was treating Jews kindly, was suppressed by the censor. 5. Letters of regimental commanders to the parents of Jewish Hussars congratulating them on the valor of their sons, or notifying them of medals of honor bestowed upon them, were suppressed by the censor. 6. The military censorship also suppressed news of an absolutely non-military nature, whenever it might in any manner have been construed as friendly to Jews. Thus, a news item referring to the non-sectarian activities of the National Relief Committee, headed by the Princess Tatiana, daughter of the Tsar, was suppressed. A News 59 item regarding the disapproval of the Council of Ministers of the policy of expelling Jews en masse under wholesale charges of treachery was also suppressed. 7. Even the official declaration of Count Bobrinsky, military governor of Galicia, referring to the correctness of the conduct of the Jews of Galicia, was suppressed. 8. But outrageously false items published in the notoriously anti-Semitic papers were generally passed by the censor without hesitation. The Novo Vremya, the Raskuznaya, and other anti-Semitic organs systematically published reports of wholesale Jewish desertions, treachery, spying, etc., without at any time producing an iota of evidence. Thus, Raskuznaya declared that the loyalty of not a single Jewish soldier could be depended upon. The Novo Vremya declared that the Jews were without exception embittered enemies of the Russian army, and that during the Japanese War 18,000 out of 27,000 soldiers voluntarily surrendered as prisoners to the Japanese. Stories without name, date or place to the effect that small Polish boys warned the Russian soldiers to take nothing from Jews because everything they would furnish was poison were passed by the censor and made much of by the press. The notorious Kazi Canard was not only passed by the censor and printed in the official and semi-official press of Russia, but the censors even hinted to that section of the press which hesitated to publish a tale so manifestly absurd that future relations with the censorship might be imperiled if the story were, 60, not given proper publicity. Editors received a continuous stream of circulars forbidding the touching of questions which had absolutely no relation to the war.
She said,
9.
if you
When
eat
the great writers
anything
and
sweet,
publicists
then
of
that
Russia
causes
decided
tonsillitis.
that it would be
Let's believe
desirable
that.
for the honor of Russia to speak a good word for the Jews.
Okay, dear. So give me just a moment. Let's go. This is my yeah my work here. I'm trying to do some work. All right. So. Please don't cry. Why? Oh dear. Okay. Well, yeah. So, um, yeah. It's this thing of like we had this thing. It's like our mom, God bless her. She, they never had toys when where they were from or whatever. And this started with so, well, I want my child to have this and have that. Well, so you can get all the toys you want. You keep your like around the holidays, if you keep your eyes on the thrift stores or whatever. That's when parents are like. It's like a lot of parents, they buy toys for their kids for the wrong reasons. They want to get rid of the kids, right? And the kids, end up, they tear into stuff and they don't know what to do. And there's no, it's like they're looking, they want a real cell phone because they can be like their parents. Right? So the parents are, and this happened to my wife. She's like, get all these really, really nice toys and stuff like that, and but doesn't want, maybe only once or twice or just very few times does she ever play with the toys with her daughter. And then she's like, you gotta clean up all these toys. It's a mess. Clean up all these toys. It's like, well, actually, it's better. And this, I'm sure it's not the only. You could beat the crap out of the kid and say they put everything away or whatever like that. Or I'm gonna throw it all in the trash and then throw it all in the trash. A lot of parents do that. But me, I try to get into, when I pick up the toy, figuring it out myself and getting into the mode of, and sometimes it's hard. Like Minecraft, I still have not managed to get into it. The way you can see people really get into it. I haven't managed to do that, but if we later on, I should get into it and really do it with her, right? Play the game really seriously. And so I do that with Legos and stuff like that. But her mom, as I said, she's very exhausted. Just like this, to go up and down the stairs is just too much. So she's like, well, if you ate something sweet, you need to gargle with salt water, or you'll get tonsillitis, right? That's what they believe, or whatever. But it's like my daughter's already learned that whenever there's something that she doesn't want to do, she tries to force other people to do it. And so my daughter's like, I'm too tired. It's gonna take forever. Which is exactly what her mom says. Stop wasting my time. I'm exhausted. And yeah, I'm like, dear, if you to me, I keep doing the stuff that I want the kid to do. I keep doing it myself, right? That's modeling, right? This is what, because kids they don't do what you tell them to do. They do what you do. And I know that's not absolute, because some people use force. They're like, do you want to die? I'm going to kick you. I'm going to tear your hair out of your head. I'll jerk an eye on your head. I'm going to skin you alive, right? Yeah, that you can do things that way. I don't think your outcome is going to be as good as my outcome might be. If I clean, like look at, I don't want to run up and down the stairs too many times. I don't want to do it, but I don't want to slip into the fire because I'm being asked to do something that somebody else doesn't want to do. So therefore, that must be something that you don't want to do. Oh, it's a big drag or whatever. Like that's the trap you fall into, because really, yeah, it's good for me to get the exercise and go up and down the floor and stuff, go up and down the steps. And it's almost time for me to sign off and go to bed. But success, we got the Debian operating system running from a VDI file. We practiced how to do that again. And what would be in order? I guess to really get this, I got VMware installed. Is go and see if I can get a Windows 10. So let's see. Power off, log out, power off. Alright, so I'm shutting down my delightful Debian 10 installation. And yeah, I'm pleased about that. Now, I'm gonna take a look around here. Let's see. Okay. Operating systems. An ISO archive. And it's got Rufus in the folder. Alright, so let's see if we can load this ISO as a virtual box. Alright, so it's like a new machine, and we'll call it Windows 10 Pro. .2022. Okay, where is the folder where it's going to be? Other. Onto downloads. Operating system. So, put it right there. Alright. Select the folder. Alright, ISO image. Say, cigarette. There's where she turned out to be. There's the ISO. Alright. Let's see what I want this to be. Is that what it wants? Okay, I think that got me through. Well, let's fire it up.